Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are diving into part 2 of our series on movement types in SAP MM. In part 1, we explored the basics, that is, what movement types are in SAP MM and why they are so critical for tracking and controlling material movements. We discussed various types of material movements and how SAP has defined specific movement types for each scenario. We also covered the logic behind the numbering system, which helps in understanding and remembering different movement types effectively. Now, if you haven't watched part 1 yet, I highly recommend you to check out that video first to get a solid understanding of the core concepts. The link is in the description. You can check there. Now, in today's video, we'll move a step ahead and look into the configurations of movement types. That is, how SAP has structured these movement types behind the scenes. We'll talk about what control functions are associated with any movement type, what are the account determination mechanisms, and we'll also discuss how we can create our own custom movement type when the standard ones are not meeting our business requirement. We'll create some custom movement types today and we'll see how they can cater to our business requirement. So without any delay, let's get started with our today's session, that is configuration of movement types in SAP MM. So to go to the configuration, we'll first go to SPRO, SAP reference IMG. We'll go to materials management. Then we'll go to inventory management and physical inventory. Then we'll go to movement types. And here you can see you have a link to copy change movement types. So from here, what you can do is you can create your own custom movement types and you can also check the configurations of the existing movement types. So we'll execute this. So you can see a pop-up will come here. Now to go to this link, you can also go to T code OMJJ. Let me just show you that also. So we'll close this. We'll go back and we'll directly go to T code OMJJ. And you can see the same pop-up has come up. So either you can go to SPRO tree or you can go to T code OMJJ. Now here you can see in this pop-up you have multiple checkboxes. Now these checkboxes are basically the configuration fields of any movement type. If you select multiple checkboxes, system will allow you to make entries in those fields and allow you to filter out the movement types which you want to see here. Now what I'll do is I'll simply click on this movement type checkbox and I'll click OK. So you can see here system gave me an input for movement type. If I go again, let me go to OMJJ again. And if I select these two checkboxes and click OK, then system will give me input fields for movement type and debit credit indicator. So depending upon how many checkboxes I select, I'll get these input fields. And if you want to add more fields, then you can click on append and again the same pop-up will come where you can select more checkboxes. Okay, so let me just select movement type only. I'll click OK. Now you can see here in this pop-up you have to enter the movement type. So if you want to see all the movement types which are there in the system, then you can enter 0 in the from field and 999 in the to field. Now if you have some custom movement types also which are created through letter Y or Z, then what you can do is you can enter ZZZ also, so that all the numbered movement types and non-numbered movement types are also shown by the system. Okay, so I'll click on OK. And here you can see all the movement types that are there in the system have been listed. Remember that these movement types are given by the system depending upon what input I gave in the OMJJ screen. Now you can see all these movement types have multiple columns here. Now all these columns are for various control functions for this particular movement type. If I double click on any movement type, let me just double click on 101. You can see all these fields which were being shown in columns. Now I can see in this particular dialog box. If I go back, you can see all these fields were being shown in columns. You can see print, auto, slog, accounting, reason for movement. All these fields are being shown in columnar fashion. If I double click this, these fields will be shown in this particular dialog box. On this screen, you can also see there is a tree here. You have a folder under which you have subfolders. Okay, this folder has all the control functions of this movement type. So you can see here the movement type is 101 and these are the control functions. Now these control functions are divided in three major parts: entry control, updating control, and internal control. Under entry control, the first item that you have is print item. Now this print item is basically whether you want to print the material document that has been posted with this movement type. If you take a drop down, you can see one is for material document printout. If we go to the material document print settings, let me just show you. Let us go to T code NACE, and you can see here for inventory management the application is ME, and if I go to access sequences, and if you go to access sequence 0001, double click on accesses. Now if you go to the fields, you can see there is a field called print item. Now this is the same field which is there in the movement type configuration. So based on this print item field, you can configure the printout of the material document posted against this movement type. You can see here the print item field is coming here, which is also there in the access sequence for material document printing. Now the next field is selection parameter. Now this field is used in the PO reports. If we go to the T code ME2N, let me just show you. If you go to T code ME2N, you can see there is a field called selection parameters. If we take a drop down, you can see WE101 is open goods receipt. So this particular selection parameter actually gives you the list of purchase order where there is an open PO quantity, that is where the goods receipt is yet to be done. System takes multiple movement types into consideration to find out the open PO quantity. Now system takes into consideration only those movement types where this selection parameter is entered. So you can see here for 101 this selection parameter is entered. So all those movement types where this selection parameter is entered, system will consider them to determine the output of this PO report. You can see here if I enter WE101, then system will filter out all those POs where open quantity is there, but system will find out all those POs based on the movement types that have happened against the PO item. That movement type should have this selection parameter in its configuration, which we can see here. Okay. Then we have this field, check shelf life expiration date. Now this field is used when you do GR for shelf life materials, that is materials which have a shelf life, and whether you want to check the shelf life expiration date that is being entered while doing the GR against the minimum remaining shelf life that is entered in the material master. The shelf life is a separate subject we'll cover in our subsequent videos. Then we have a field called account control. Now this field actually tells the system whether the entry of GL and the cost object is possible while doing this particular movement type. Then we have a field called control reason. Now this field is basically used for reversal movement types where you can ask the user to enter the reason for movement. So here you can control that reason for movement field, whether it is suppressed or mandatory or optional. You can take a drop down and see for movement type 101, this field is suppressed. Let's see this field for movement type 124, that is for return delivery. So to go to a different movement type, we'll click on this icon here and we'll enter 124. And you can see here the control reason is marked as mandatory here. So whenever you are posting 124, that is a return delivery against 103 movement type, you will have to mandatorily enter a reason for movement. Now the next field is stock determination rule. Now this field is used for stock determination strategy. Whatever rule is entered here, based on that only, the stock determination strategy will be triggered in the screen. Then you have this checkbox, that is reverse GR despite IR. Now this checkbox is important when we are using GR based invoicing. Let's say that for any PO you are using GR based invoicing, you have created a GR and further you have created IR also, and then you want to reverse the GR without reversing the IR. That is, you have to reverse the goods receipt, but you have not reversed the invoice receipt yet. So this checkbox will allow that particular activity to happen. If you do not have this checkbox allowed for this movement type, you will not be able to reverse this movement type until you have reversed the IR. Then in this block, you can see we have updating control. Now these are also very important control functions. So first we have create a slot automatically. Now as you know that whenever you post any movement type, system will check whether the material has been extended to the plant and the storage location. Now if this checkbox is activated, then you are not required to extend that material in the storage location. System will automatically extend the material in the storage location in the background. Let's say that you have a material which is extended to the plant, but the storage views have not been created for a particular storage location in the material master. When you enter the storage location in the screen and post that document, system will create those storage views in the material master and post the document simultaneously. So extending the material to that storage location will not be a prerequisite. You can post the document. System will extend that material to the storage location in the background. So you can see here this checkbox is for that activity. Then we have requirement reduction upon goods movement. This checkbox actually tells the system whether the requirements have to be reduced while this movement type is posted or not. This is majorly used in MRP where you have a material requirement, and when you do this movement type, whether that requirement has to be reduced or not, that this checkbox will control. Then we have generate physical inventory document. Now this is majorly used for warehouse management, that whenever you post this movement type, a physical inventory document has to be created in the background or not. Now normally this particular checkbox will be there for physical inventory related movement types, that is movement type starting with 7. Then this checkbox is also very important, that whenever you are going to post this movement type, whether you want to create a PO automatically in the background or not. Now this we have already discussed on our channel, that how you can automatically create a PO while doing a GR. If you haven't watched that video, you can check there. But to do this activity, this particular checkbox is very important and this has to be activated. Then this field is statistically relevant. Now if you take a drop down, you can see document evaluation and standard analysis. Now for inventory management, there are multiple reports against which you can analyze the inventory. And this particular indicator has to be there if you want to record this movement type in your standard analysis. Then you have consumption posting field. Now whenever you post material movements, system updates the consumption data related to that material, which will be then used in multiple other functionalities. So this field is important to tell the system that whether consumption related data is to be updated or not. If we go to movement type 201, let's just see that. You can see here the consumption posting is marked as R. If we take a drop down, R means planned if reference reservation, otherwise unplanned. So system updates planned and unplanned consumption, but based on this field only, system will understand that whether consumption data is to be updated or not. If we see any stock transfer related movement type, let's see that. If we go to movement type 311, you can see this field is blank. So for stock transfer related movement types, the consumption posting is not updated because that is not a consumption, that is transfer from one location to another. So for those movement types, this consumption posting indicator will be blank. That is, system will not update any consumption. Let's go back to movement type 101 again. Then you can see there are certain internal control related fields which are non-editable. These fields are pre-configured by SAP and are not to be changed. Most important is the debit credit indicator. Now whenever you post any movement type and that leads to financial entries, system will create two lines. One will be the primary line and another will be the secondary line, which will be created against that primary line. So this particular indicator actually tells the system whether the primary line will be a debit or a credit line. In financial terms, let's say that you're doing a GR, then the primary line will be the updation of the inventory. That will be a debit line in terms of financial transactions. So this particular indicator will actually tell the system that the primary line that is being posted is against which indicator. So you can see here, if you take a drop down, S stands for debit. So whenever you post a goods receipt through movement type 101, the main line, that is the inventory line posting, will happen with a debit indicator. So you can see here, this particular entry is very important to tell the system what type of financial transaction has to be posted. Okay. Then we have GR blocked stock. This field is also very important. This tells the system whether GR blocked stock is involved or not. As we have seen in our two-step goods receipt video, that if you are doing a goods receipt in two steps, then first the quantity is sent to the GR block stock through movement type 103 and then it is released through movement type 105. So if you go to movement type 103, let me just show you. So you can see here, there is an indicator S in the GR block stock field. And if you go to movement type 105, let's see that also. You can see GR block stock is marked as X. So this GR block stock field actually will tell the system whether there is an involvement of GR block stock in this movement type or not. Now we have seen all these control functions, that is entry control, updating control and internal control. In the left, you can see there are multiple subfolders also. In these subfolders, multiple other configurations are there for each movement type. And if you want to go to these configurations, then we have to double click here. So if you double click on short text, we can see the short text related to all these movement types in multiple languages are entered here. And here you can see this is a description of the movement type which appears on the screen. If you go to Migo, let me just show you. If you go to MIGO, you can see for movement type 101, the description is GR goods receipt. Now this description is configured here. If we go to the movement types again, and if you go to 101, if you double click on short text, for English language, you can see for English, the description is GR goods receipt. So you can see here the short text will be shown against this movement type, which is configured here. So you can see here the short text is configured based on the language, movement type, special stock indicator, movement indicator, receipt indicator, and consumption indicator. Now these four indicators are very important to determine what kind of transaction is happening. So a special stock indicator will be based on what kind of special stock you are dealing with. Movement indicator will be what type of movement is happening. If I have selected goods movement for purchase order, then this particular indicator will be picked by the system. Receipt indicator is whether you are going to do a normal receipt or tied empties or stock transport order receipt. And consumption indicator is what kind of consumption is happening for a particular movement type. Based on all these combinations, system will show that particular movement type text. That is the short text. So if I am doing a consumption against asset, then system will tell me GR for asset. You can see here for special stock indicator K, the short text changes to GR for consignment stock. So based on these combinations, system will show the short text of the movement type which you are posting. Okay. Then if I go to this particular folder that is for allowed transactions, you can see what all T codes are allowed to post this particular movement type. Then if you go to help text, here you will see the text which appears when you take a drop down for the movement type. So let's go to Migo screen again. And if I take a drop down here, you can see for 101, the text is goods receipt for purchase order into warehouse or stores. If I go back to the configuration for language English, let's see what is for 101. So you can see for 101 and T code Migo, this is the text which appears in the drop down. So you can see here this text was shown by the system when I took a drop down in the Migo screen. So this is the help text which SAP has configured to tell you what kind of movement you are going to do. Then we have this particular subfolder that is field selection. Now this is a very important configuration. This configuration will tell the system what all fields will be there on the screen when you post this movement type. If I double click this, you can see these fields will be shown on the screen as optional entries. So you can see here all these fields which are configured here can be marked as a required field or an optional field. Now if you want to hide any field for this particular movement type on the screen, then you just need to delete that field from this screen here. Let's go to another movement type. Let's go to movement type 201 and we'll go to the field selection. So here we can see we have 4 fields, out of which this field is a required field and other are optional fields. If you want to see the description of these fields, then you can simply take a drop down here and you can see the name of this field is KOSTL, stands for cost center. So for movement type 201, entering cost center is a mandatory requirement which is configured from here. Now if you want to make any field as mandatory, then you can simply click on this particular radio button. Let's say that you want to make this text field as mandatory for movement type 201. So you can see this field here. We can simply mark this as required entry. And then whenever you post this movement type 201, system will ask you to enter the text field mandatorily. We'll see this when we create our own custom movement types, how we can do this field selection. So you can see the movement type configuration also controls the field selection. Then another important configuration is here in this particular subfolder, that is for account grouping. Now as you know that whenever you post any material movement, if that movement is subject to financial entries, then system will automatically post financial documents in the background. Those financial entries will be posted based on automatic account determination. That account determination is also controlled through movement type configuration, which is entered in this particular section here. If I double click here, you can see the movement type and different other configurations are combined here to enter something called as a account modifier. Now this account modifier is used with the transaction key to determine which GL will be called by the system when you post this particular movement type. So you can see here there are multiple columns. So first column is movement type, then you have special stock indicator. Now these two check boxes are for value update and quantity update. Now this will be correlated with the material type configuration, and then system will determine which line it has to pick while finding this account modifier. So you can see here this value update and quantity update will come from the material type configuration. Then there is a movement indicator which will tell the system what type of movement is happening. So you can see here multiple entries are there, whether movement is happening against a purchase order or a production order or for a delivery note. All these entries system will take from the background what kind of transaction is happening. And then finally you have a consumption indicator. Based on these combinations, system will find which transaction is being done. So you have a transaction key here, and that transaction key will be associated with the account modifier. And this account modifier you will enter in the OBYC configuration. Let me just show you. So if I go to OBYC, and if you go to transaction GBB, if I double click here, we'll have to enter a chart of account here. So you can see here, based on the combination of valuation modifier, general modifier, and valuation class, the GLs are configured. This general modifier is basically the account modifier which is entered against the movement type. You can see here, we have a account modifier here. This is basically this general modifier which is entered in the OBYC configuration. And you can see here, for 201, the account modifier is configured as VBR. So whenever you post a 201 movement type, system will pick this VBR general modifier or account modifier against the transaction GBB, and then will determine the GL which is configured against this combination in the OBYC transaction. So this is very important that this general modifier is determined from the movement type configuration. From there, the GL is determined through the automatic account determination strategy. Automatic account determination is a different subject. We'll discuss that subject in our subsequent videos. But you need to understand that this account grouping configuration is to determine this account modifier, which is basically this general modifier which is there in the OBYC transaction. Okay. So you can see here for specific transactions, the account modifiers are configured against the movement type, and these account modifiers will be called by the system, and from there the GLs will be determined. Then you have configuration related to reversal follow on movement types. Here we configure when we reverse a movement type, what movement type will be picked by the system automatically. If I double click here, you can see all these movement types are configured here. So you can see here for 201, the reversal movement type is 202, and this reversal movement type is configured based on the transaction that you are doing. So you can see here, there are multiple transactions listed here. If you go to movement type 101, let us just see that. And if I go to reversal movement types, you can see for 101, the return delivery movement type is 122, which is configured here. As we have seen in our return delivery video, that whenever we post a return delivery against movement type 101, the movement type that is picked by the system automatically is 122. That configuration is done here. So whatever movement you configure here, that movement type will only get picked by the system when you do this particular transaction. That is, if you post return delivery against 101, the movement type picked by the system will be 122. If you do a reversal, then the movement type will be picked as 102. So here you have all those movement type configured. Then you have something called returns also. We have already discussed on our channel what is a returns PO, and there you can see the movement type is 161. This is exactly the movement type which is picked by the system when you post a GR against a returns PO item. So all those movement types are configured here against your main movement type. Okay. Then we have reason for movement. Now this is important for all those movement types where you have configured that user has to mandatorily enter a reason for movement. Let's see some reversal movement type. So we'll go back. Let's go to movement type 124, and then we'll go to reason for movement, and you can see here all these reason for movements are configured here. So whenever you post a movement type 124, in the field reason for movement, if you take a drop down, you will find out these reason codes and these descriptions appearing there. So that is configured here in this reason for movement subfolder. So till now we have seen all the major configurations related to any movement type. Now what we'll do is we'll create some custom movement types and we'll see how we can change this configuration to suit our business requirements. So let's see that. So first what we'll do is we'll create a custom movement type by copying the standard movement type 201, and we'll see what all changes we can do to our custom movement type to suit our business needs. But before that, let's first post a standard movement type 201 and see what all fields come on the screen. So we'll go to T code MyGo. We'll select goods issue and then other, and we'll enter movement type as 201. We'll enter a material code. We'll enter some quantity. We'll enter the plant, the storage location. And here you can see we have a field called text. Now this field is currently optional. That is, even if you don't enter any detail in this particular field, system will allow me to post this document. Let's check that. So we'll click on check. Now you can see system is telling me to enter the cost center. Now the cost center is a mandatory field for posting 201. This we have already seen in the configuration. Let me just show that again. So we'll go to T code OMJJ. And we'll enter movement type as 201. Now if we go to field selection, we can see that this field KOSTL, that is for cost center, is an required entry field. That is, it is a mandatory field, and that is why when we are posting this 201 document and we are clicking on check, system is telling me to enter the cost center. So we'll enter the cost center and we'll click on check. So the document is okay and we'll click on post. So you can see system has posted this 201 document. If we display this document, let's display this document now. So you can see in the where tab, I did not enter any text field and system allowed me to post this document. Now let's say that our business requirement is that whenever we are posting the goods issue to a cost center, we have to mandatorily enter the text. Now we have two options. Either we can change the configuration of this movement type 201, or we can create our own movement type by copying this 201 movement type and then make changes in that configuration. So what we'll do is we'll create a new movement type and there we'll do our configuration as per our business requirement. So to create a new movement type, again we have to go to OMJJ. So we'll go to movement type OMJJ. We'll select movement type. And here we have to enter from 201 to, let's say that I'm going to create movement type as 901 and I'll press enter. So you can see here movement type 201 has come up. I'll select this movement type and I'll click on this copy button. And now we'll enter our new movement type 901. So this is the custom movement type that we are going to create. This will be similar to our movement type 201. But what we'll do is we'll make some changes in the field selection and we'll make some changes in the account grouping also that I'll show you. So we'll enter our movement type 901. We'll press enter and we'll click on copy all. So you can see all those entries have been copied. We'll click on OK and we'll click on save. So now our new movement type 901 has been created. We'll again open this movement type in OMJJ. And now we'll enter the movement type as 901 here and we'll press enter. So you can see movement type 901 has been created after copying from movement type 201. Now you have to remember, whenever you're going to create your custom movement type, you always have to copy from an existing standard movement type. This is the most important point whenever you're going to create your custom movement type. That is, you have to copy it from the standard movement type and you have to select the standard movement type in line with your business requirement. That is, if you're creating a custom movement type for goods issue, then you have to select the appropriate standard movement type from which you're going to copy. If you're going to create a custom movement type for goods receipt without reference, then you have to select the appropriate movement type starting with digit 5 to create your new custom movement type. So this you have to always keep in mind, that whenever you are going to create a custom movement type, you have to copy it from the standard one. So this time what we are doing, we were creating a goods issue movement type, so we copied it from movement type 201. So now 901 has been created. If you go to short text, you can see all these short texts are also copied. If you want, you can change this short text. Now what we are going to do is, our business requirement is that we want to make the text field as mandatory. So what we'll do is we'll go to field selection and this is the text field. We'll mark this as required entry. So now what will happen whenever you post this 901 document, it will post similar to the 201 movement type, but there it will ask you to enter the text field. Okay, let's save this movement type first. Now we'll post this movement type 901. So we'll go to Migo. We'll select goods issue, and here we'll enter our new movement type, that is 901. We'll enter the material code. We'll enter the quantity. We'll enter the plant code, storage location, and now let's click on check. So now you can see two error messages are coming, enter cost center and enter text. Earlier in movement type 201, we were only getting this error message, that is enter cost center, but now we are getting enter cost center and enter text. This is happening because we have marked the text field as a mandatory requirement for movement type 901. Let me just show you that again. If you go to this movement type configuration, this field sgtxt, that is for text field, is marked as a required entry. And that is why when I am checking this document, I am getting these two errors. So we'll make entry in the text field here. And we'll have to enter the cost center. And then we'll post this document. So you can see this document has been posted, but this time I was able to post this document only when I made entries in the text field. If I display this document now, if you go to the where tag, you can see that I had to make entry in this text field. Earlier when we posted our 201 document, we did not make any entry in this text field. Let me show you that document also. So we'll enter that document number here and we'll see. You can see this was the 201 document that we posted. This text field was not entered because this was not mandatory. So system did not ask me to enter this field when I was posting this document. But when I posted this 901 document, let me just show you that document again. This time system asked me to enter this text field, and now it is showing me in display whatever I entered in this text field. So through this you can do the screen configurations in the movement type. Now if you see both these documents, for both these documents the financial entries are same. If I go to the 201 document, let me just show you, and if I go to the financial entries, you can see that system posted in this GL. The consumption GL which was picked is 4 all zeros. Now this has come up from the movement type configuration. Let me just show you that also. Let's go to OMJJ again and let's see the 201 movement type. If you go to the account grouping, you can see that for valuated material, that is for material where quantity and value update both are applicable, the account modifier that will be picked by the system is VBR. You can see this line. When we posted our 201, system picked this line and picked this account modifier to determine the consumption GL. Now we can verify this GL from OBYC transaction also. Let me just show you that. So we'll go to OBYC and we have to go to transaction GBB. We'll enter the chart of account. And here we have to enter the valuation modifier, general modifier, and valuation class. So we'll enter that. So the valuation modifier for our plant is 0001. The general modifier is VBR as per the configuration of the 201 movement type. Let me just show you that again. You can see here for 201, the account modifier is VBR. So we'll enter VBR here. And the valuation class is as per the material master. Let's see the material master. So first let's open the material master. So we'll go to MM03. We'll go to this material code. We'll go to accounting 1. And you can see the valuation class is 3000. So we'll have to enter valuation classes 3000 here. So we have valuation modifier 0001, general modifier VBR, and valuation class is 3000. So you can see here, this is the GL which has been configured for automatic posting of consumption. Now when we posted our 201 movement type, this is the GL which was picked by the system. Let's see that accounting document which was created against the 201 posting. So you can see this is the accounting document and this GL was picked by the system for consumption posting. You can see this is the same GL which is configured in automatic account determination. You can see it here. This GL is here for valuation modifier, general modifier, and valuation class. This general modifier is picked from the movement type configuration. You can see here the 201 movement type configuration. This VBR is configured. Now, when we posted the 901 movement type also, since we did not make any changes in this account grouping configuration, so system would have posted the same financial entries when we posted our 901 movement type. Let's see that. So we'll open our 901 document. So we'll enter that document here. So you can see this is our 901 movement type document. If you go to FI documents, you can see the same GL would have been picked. You can see here the same GL is picked. This is because for 901 also same account grouping configuration is there. If you open the 901 configuration in OMJJ, let me just show you that. So we'll go back. We'll again open OMJJ and we'll enter 901 here. And here you can see in the account grouping, the same entries are there as it was in 201. So you can see for 901 and for valuated material against GBB, the account modifier is VBR. So in this way, the same GL was picked when I posted 901. Now let's say that my business requirement is that whenever I am posting the movement type 901, system has to post in a different GL. Now how can I achieve that? For that, I'll have to change this account modifier in the 901 movement type configuration. And this account modifier I'll have to configure in my OBYC transaction also. So let's do that. So what we'll do is we'll go to change mode. And here for GBB, what we'll do is we'll change this account modifier. Let's enter ZBR and we'll copy to all the lines. So you can see what we have done is against the transaction GBB, we have changed the account modifier. And now against this account modifier, I'll maintain a new GL. Okay, so first let's save this configuration now. So for 901 movement type, what system will do is in place of picking VBR, system will now pick ZBR. And if I maintain a GL against this account modifier, then system will pick that GL when I post this 901 document. So let's do that. So we'll go to OBYC now. Now here what we'll do is we'll enter a new line and we'll change the GL against general modifier ZBR. So we'll select this line, we'll click on copy, we'll enter ZBR here and we'll change this GL and we'll save. So now what we have done is we have created a new line. We have entered the general modifier as ZBR and against this valuation group code and valuation class, we have entered a separate GL. So now let's post a 901 document and see what GL is picked by the system. So we'll save this setting again. And now let's post 901 document again. So we'll go to MyGo. We'll select goods issue and we'll select movement type 901 and then we'll enter the material code and we'll make other entries. So now we have made all the entries. We'll post this document. So you can see this document has been posted. Now we'll see the financial entries that got posted against this document. So we'll go to display, document info, and we'll click on FI documents. Now let's open this accounting document. Now you can see system automatically picked this GL in place of the previous GL, which was configured for 201 movement type. So this happened because we made changes to the account grouping configuration of our movement type 901. Let me just show you the previous material document which we posted through 901 only. So we'll open that document also. So we'll go to MyGo. And this time we'll display our previous document. And if we open the FI document, so here you can see this GL was picked when we posted the 901 movement type. This is for all zeros. When I made changes to the account grouping configuration of movement type 901, system picked this new GL. So in this way, you can configure your GLs also, which will get posted against your movement type. And what we did is we assigned a new account modifier to our movement type configuration, and then we assigned GL to that account modifier in OBYC transaction. So if we see our 901 movement type, we can see we assigned this ZBR here, and then we assigned the GL to this account modifier in OBYC transaction. And by this way, we changed the GL also, which was picked when we posted this 901 movement type. Now, one more thing that I want to discuss is we have a column here, check account assignment. This checkbox actually allows you to enter a different GL than what is assigned automatically. So if you have this checkbox activated, then whenever you are posting this movement type, you can enter the GL manually also. And system will actually pick that GL in place of the GL which was automatically determined. Let me show you that also. So we'll go to MyGo again. We'll select goods issue. And again, we'll make those entries. And here, apart from entering the cost center, what we'll do is we'll also enter the GL account. Now what we are going to do here is we are going to enter a GL account that is different from what will be determined through automatic account determination strategy. So what we'll do is we'll enter a separate GL here. This GL is different from what is configured. Let's first verify what GL is configured for automatic account determination. So we'll go to OBYC transaction. And you can see this GL is configured for automatic account determination for this combination. And this GL was picked when I posted 901 movement type previously. Now what I'm doing is I'm entering a different GL here, and let's post this document. Now if we display this document, and if you go to FI document, you can see that system copied the GL which I entered manually in the MIGO screen. You can see this GL was not configured in the automatic account determination. You can see here, this is the GL, that is 400010. So if you enter a separate GL in the MIGO screen, system will copy that GL in the posting line and will post in that GL only. But for that to happen, this configuration is important. You can see here this checkbox. This checkbox is important because this checkbox only tells the system that whether the GL line is to be copied to the posting line or not. If any GL is entered manually in the MIGO screen, then it has to be copied or not. Now in our case, this particular line was picked by the system to determine the GL, and since this checkbox was activated, so system did not pick from the automatic account determination. System picked the GL from what we entered on the screen. Now if I deactivate this checkbox, then even when I enter GL manually in the MIGO screen, system will only post in the GL that is determined automatically. Now let's test that. So we'll deactivate this checkbox. We'll save this movement type configuration. And now let's post the document again. So we'll go to MIGO. We'll select goods issue. Again, we'll make the entries. And this time again, I'm going to enter a different GL account. So this GL account is different from what will get determined automatically. But now since I have deactivated this checkbox, so system will ignore this GL and system will post in the GL which is automatically determined only. Let's post this document and verify this. So you can see here the document has been posted. Now let's verify the financial entries that got posted against this document. So we'll go to display and we'll click on FI documents. Now you can see system picked the GL from automatic account determination rather than what was entered in the MIGO screen. Now this has happened because we deactivated this checkbox here. So this checkbox actually tells the system that whether the GL is to be picked from what is entered in the MIGO screen or what is determined automatically. Now if you do not enter any GL in the MIGO screen, system will copy from the automatic account determination. But if you do enter in the MIGO screen also, then this checkbox becomes very important. And we saw that when this checkbox was activated, system picked the GL from what was entered in the MIGO screen. When we deactivated this checkbox, then system posted from automatic account determination. So in this way, you can configure the field selection and the account groupings. Now what I'll do is I'll also show you how we can make a field removed from the MIGO screen. So what we'll do is we'll go to field selection, and this time what we're going to do is we are going to remove this particular field from the MIGO screen. So if you want to hide some field, you have to simply select this field and click on delete. Now this field is basically the goods recipient field. You can see the description. Now what I am going to do is I am going to remove this field from the configuration, and you can see this field will no longer be seen in the MIGO screen. Let's first verify what is there in the MIGO screen. So we'll go to MIGO again and we'll select goods issue. And if you go to the where tab, you can see the goods recipient field is visible. Now my requirement is that I have to hide this field in the 901 movement type screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this particular field from this configuration here. So we'll click on this remove button and we'll click on save. Now if I again enter the movement type 901, let's select goods issue and movement type 901. If you go to the where tab, you can see the goods recipient field is no longer visible. So in this way, you can hide any field from the movement type configuration, and you can make some fields as mandatory also. So in this way, we have covered the whole configuration of movement type. We saw what all configuration elements are there, and we also saw how we can create our own custom movement types. Always remember that whenever you're creating a new custom movement type, you have to copy from the standard one, and then you can make changes to that movement type. I hope that you have liked this video and you have learned about the configurations of movement type. If you have any queries, then you can put it in the comment box. I hope that you've understood this concept. If you like my videos, then please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be putting more content on SAP MM module. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thanks a lot.